Okay, it is a hot night here in Hanoi, so we're just gonna race through this. I'm gonna turn on my AC. But anyway, out of the New York Times, Pope Francis declares death penalty unacceptable in all cases, by Elisabetta Provoleto and Lori Goldstein. Rome. Pope Francis has declared the death penalty wrong in all cases, a definitive change in church teaching that is likely to challenge Catholic politicians, judges, and officials who have argued that their church was not entirely opposed to capital punishment. All right, so I'll put the link to the article below so you can read the rest, but I just wanted to say that this is very good news, and I hope that, it just makes clear sense. You can't be against abortion, for example, and still for the death penalty. There have been many shocking cases in recent memory of people who were later found to be innocent who spent time on death row, including the individual that I did a video about a few months ago, the West Memphis Three, Damien Eccles. Damien Eccles, who spent 10 years on death row until his case was overturned. And listening to his story and hearing about how he got to make friends with, or he befriended other people on death row, and then they were gone one morning, and realizing that he could be next at any time until finally being released, and God bless him. Although he is a pagan now or something, I don't know, Buddhist or something, out in Salem, Massachusetts, last I heard. But I think his example is just one of hundreds, maybe even thousands of people who have been wrongly, well, certainly thousands throughout history, millions maybe, who have been wrongly accused and sentenced to death without any chance of appeals. And so for the Catholics or Pope Francis specifically, to come out and say this is a really wonderful thing, and it goes without saying. It goes on in this article talking about how majority Catholic countries, there's usually a ban on the death penalty and so on. I consider Wisconsin my home state. I wasn't born there, but I grew up in Wisconsin, and we abolished the death penalty, and yet we had Ed Gein, who inspired Psycho and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then of course when I was a kid we had Jeffrey Dahmer. And Jeffrey Dahmer was given a life sentence, but he was beaten to death in prison under mysterious circumstances. But anyway, I still think it's a good idea, especially as someone, I consider myself pro-life, and that's one reason I am right-wing, conservative, if you will. I know we hate talking about labels, and we hate doing this, but the fact is, one thing that puts me decidedly on the right is the fact that I think abortion is wrong. I think it should be considered killing. It should be considered murder, just as the death penalty. And as I was talking about in my early video, of course I was looking at the Old Testament and certain logic and expressions that seem incomprehensible to our judicial sense of the current day. Yet it all goes back to the fear of God. And what is the fear of God? The fear of God is breaking the commandments. And what is the commandment? It says, thou shalt not kill. It doesn't say thou shalt not kill unless the person meets certain criteria. It's very simple, very plain in the Bible. So I think it's not just Catholics, but anyone who reads the Bible, anyone who takes the Ten Commandments seriously should be against the death penalty, as they should be against war, and they should be against abortion. No murder. Thou shalt not kill. Over and out.